everyone. How are you doing? Welcome to Facts and Two Cents. This is Petal. Actually, I think I'm even on the wrong slide. Wait a minute. All right, this is where we're starting. We're gonna get to the other slides before. It's a time a little discombobulated at the moment. I was like looking at the wrong slides and everything. But welcome. How are you all doing? I haven't seen or spoken to you in like a week. I think the last time I was on here was last week. As I said, while doing this program, it'll be one or two episodes a week, and then it ends in 2 weeks actually, and then I will be back to doing regular podcasts. But my goodness, how are you all? How is life? What's going on? How are you feeling? All our friends who are having ailments, I hope you are getting better. And again, sorry I haven't been on here to check in on you as much. I have been a little bit crazed. Coming to the end of our project, end of our program. It's time, we're um, getting together all our presentations and all of those. You know how that is, the end of a program, the end of school year. Everybody is getting their presentations and all of those things together. So I'm working with my students. I'm also working with teachers. So it's just been a lot, but it's been very rewarding as it has been the last couple of years I've done it. So I recommend anytime you're able to teach, anytime you're able to spend time and give love and give any kind of your wisdom to our younger generation. It is the most fulfilling thing you'll ever do. Yes, they're teenagers, and yes, they could be like, oh, but they are amazing. And then it reminds you that you were once a teenager and you were probably worse. So every time I'm sitting there like, okay, I'm gonna go gray from this. It's like, okay, you turned someone gray before when you were a teenager. So yes, it definitely puts me in my place. So, and again, anytime you have an opportunity to be able to help and be able to impart some of your wisdom on our younger generation, it is most needed, and they are absolutely amazing because they're gonna be the ones running our country. So so hopefully they do a better job than is being done right now. So yeah. But anyways, welcome, my friends. I see you all in the chat. I'm just gonna say hello to some of you. Quickly. Church Nelly is here. Hello, Church Nelly. Fabulous Friday to all. I hope you are feeling better. Hope the pain has subsided. Oh, I do hope so. Let me know, Church Nelly. Hopefully you are feeling a whole lot better. Thank you so much. Please like, subscribe, share, donate. Real money, not monopoly money. Thank you, Church Nelly. Or join the membership. And again, thank you so much. All of you who are members who have put up with me the last month, almost a month, with doing this teaching project, because I have not really been on here a lot. So thank you. And any kind of app, any kind of link you need for the channel, definitely go ahead. Church Nelly has it all here in there. Thank you so much, Church Nelly. I appreciate it. Who else is in here? Oh, awesome moderator and Two Cents Crew member. I appreciate Madarazzi Sound is here. Hello, Madarazzi Sound. And I was about to say, I know I saw Lydia. Lydia is here. Oh, thank you, Lydia. So happy you can catch live. I'm so grateful when I see you pop in and out. So yes, Lydia, our awesome moderator, is here, and also Two Cents Crew member Rafaela is here. Hello, Rafaela. How are you doing? Sending lots of love to you and your brother. So Khadijah is here. Hello, Khadijah. And who else is here? JSC is here. TMCD is here. Hello, guys. How are you? Martine is here. Hello. Vanzola is here. Hi, Vanzola. Hello, Kathy Gabby. How are you? And Patricia Nixon is hanging out with us. Oh, wait. Yeah, there's Patricia. There you go. Who else is here? Anyone else? Oh, hi, Shirley. Shirley just popped in there. Hi, Shirley. Welcome. And anyone else from our Sussex squatty family joining us? Hello. Hi, Terry. I see you there. Hello. So, anyways, what is going on? Well, as all of you, I think you are probably have much more information than I do because, again, I've been sort of popping in and out of the Sussex world. There's so many other stuff that I'm not even going to cover here that is going on with Will Lewis and Prince Harry's case that I'm going to have to do a separate podcast for because I haven't even gotten to read the article yet. And for me to not read one of those articles, my brain is a little bit busy and taken up. So, but our faves are going to be doing a just in case you've been under a rock somewhere and or your mind has been elsewhere as mine have been. Um, Announced yesterday, Prince Harry and Meghan sat down for an interview with Jane Pauley. If you don't know, Jane Pauley was one of those morning show, like what was she on? Either Good Morning America or whatever the Today Show, I think. One of them, like years ago, she was on them. So she was one of those very popular morning show hosts. And then I think Katie Couric took over when she left, or somebody took over. I don't remember. And then so now she is doing this morning show, Sunday morning show. Well, it's literally called Sunday Mornings, Sunday morning. And so Harry and Meghan are going to be talking about it. Well, they sat down for an interview with her last week, and it turns out, because it's so weird, right? When Meghan was doing the seminar in the Hamptons, there was a photo of this person that seemed like a guy bent over, and it looked like Meghan had one hand by his back, and then and it just like when I saw it, I was like, is that Harry? But then nobody said anything. No one said anything. No, I mean, again, the people that are out there are all billionaires and millionaires, so they're not going to be tweeting. A lot of them not going to be tweeting about stuff unless you sat there for a photo. They're not going to say anything. And so I saw it and I was like, that's interesting. And so apparently they sat down for this interview in New York last week. And so I was like, oh, so that must have been Harry that I saw. I was like, oh, very cool. So they were there and nobody knew. No one knew that they sat down for this interview. And so if you have not heard, then yes, the interview will be happening Sunday morning. Ooh, I don't know. Does anyone here know what time Sunday mornings come on Sunday? I have no idea. I don't think I've ever seen the show before in my life. I don't watch TV, so I am not up on it. And I just realized I didn't look at to see what time it's going to be. But check your check your TV listings and see, or if anybody here knows. I didn't look. I'm sorry. But they're going to be doing the interview. And again, the interview is going to be about, or at least when they sat down for it, is about what they did in New York when they came for the seminar in New York, and it was meeting with families, parents who've lost their kids due to online bullying, and most of those kids took their own lives. And so they have continued. They've talked to parents around the world, and they're all part of this community created by the Sussexes, really working with parents around the world for kids who really a support group and a support network for families to be able to grieve together, grow together, hopefully somehow be able to live through the horrors of that. And so they've interviewed the Sussexes, but they apparently also interviewed several of the family members. So it's not just the whole time. It's not going to be about Harry and Meghan. It's really going to be about them, but also the family members who are part of this network. And so hopefully that will continue to spread the word to more and more families, because it's so wild. When this post came up on CBS, this lady, and I think she did it either yesterday or last night, she saw it and she says, oh my God, this is so necessary, because she says her niece, I think it was a couple of days ago, she said her niece at 2 p.m. her niece closed her computer. At 2:10 by 2:10 she had already taken her life. And so it was just so like, oh my gosh. And when I read that, it was just wow. And so this is going to be very impacting, and I'm going to desperately try to figure out. 9 a.m. Eastern time. So that's what Lola Love says, 9 a.m. Eastern time. And so that'll be like 6 p.m. Pacific time. And yeah, so and so if you're like in the UK, it would be like what, like midday around there? Yeah, about midday in the UK. So yeah, so definitely. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you're in the UK, if you can, if you can stream it live. I'm not sure, but I'm sure there'll be clips of it online, or at least if not the whole thing, CBS might be able to put it all online so people. Because I guess the thing is, people need to see this because so many kids are, taking their lives because of online bullying. If I cannot imagine if Harry and Meghan were teenagers, what they would be going through with all the bullying, even under this post about online bullying, even under this post. The bullying that's going on under, I mean, so many people have commented on the fact that the Sussexes are talking about this, yet people are literally under the CBS post bullying them. It is just, it's a sickness that's going on. So CBS says this Sunday the Duke and Duchess of Sussex talked to Jane Pauley this Sunday about a new program supporting parents of children affected by online harm. Jane also interviewed parents in the pilot program about its impact on their healing. So I'm assuming some of the parents who were in New York when they did the seminar here would be also part of it. But I mean, on the on the other side of it is, it's just amazing how Harry and Meghan, how stealth they are. They could, come into New York, no one knows, do this interview, no one knows. I mean, until Meghan went out to the Hamptons, nobody knew she was on the East Coast, and no one knew Harry was here until now. And so it's amazing how they're able to travel in stealth into, you can imagine all the places that they have been to that nobody knows. And you only know when they want you to know. This is the definition of privacy. And I love it for them. I absolutely love it for them. Plus, I love Meghan's colors. She is in the RO's frame of mind. That those are those muted colors that RO is all about. So there you go. And so, yeah, but very, very cool. We are looking forward to seeing that on Sunday. And I mean, the little clips from the parents, have your tissues ready because those stories they're hard. They are very, very hard to hear. But it's necessary. People need to know so that parents could be on the alert. And if you've seen the clip where Harry talked about, each parent needs to be a first responder, but even the best first responder, they cannot pick up, and it's very hard for them to pick up if a child is decided, I want out, I don't want to be alive anymore. It is hard for them to pick that up, anybody to pick that up. And so, yeah, as the lady was saying, her niece closed the computer at 2 p.m. and took her life by 2:10. It just, how do you protect against that? How do you? So, yeah, very, very interesting and very, very, very necessary. So thank you, Lola Love, for the time. I appreciate. What else is happening? Well, our faves is off to, well, apparently the 15th to the 18th. I think those are the days. The 15th to the 18th to Colombia. So not only were they in a very colorful Nigeria, thank you, Nigeria, for your incredible hospitality, they are now going off to Colombia. And it's just so... I love it. Again, out of the blue, we knew they're cooking up stuff under their tree as they normally do in private. And we only know about it when they want us to know about it. And I just love it. I absolutely, absolutely love it. So please expect Colombia to now replace Nigeria to be on the British press hit list because, it's already starting, I'm sure. And it doesn't help that the US and the UK has a travel advisory against parts of Colombia. But I think, yes, Colombia does have a story past, not a good one, with drug cartels and all of that stuff. And so, but apparently a lot of it is changing. A lot of Colombia is going away from that past a little bit. So that's good. I mean, look, what country doesn't have its issues, right? Look at what look at what the United States is. Look at where the UK is right now. I mean, just a couple of days ago, they had this major riot. The right-wing groups terrorizing Muslim communities because a 17-year-old who is not even Muslim, who is not an immigrant, who was born right there in the UK, He went and killed 3 little girls. And it's just like, what would, and apparently this kid was a little, like a quiet, very quiet little choir boy. Why, what happened? So now they're looking into mental health, but because of press reporting, because of incitement from the press and also from the internet, these right-wing nutcases have been terrorizing Muslim communities and immigrant communities in the UK. So, I mean, you can be giving out travel advisories to Colombia all you want, but then you gotta have to look in the mirror, right? It's like anybody should be giving out travel advisory to the UK and some parts of the US. So yeah, again, it's not to say that there are problems there. There are a lot of problems, but you see these problems around the world. So, but they're going to be on the hit list until Harry and Meghan leaves that country. Lord, gets them there, keep them safe, and get them back home. But there are going to be lots and lots of articles about how dangerous this place is, especially the fact that, again, Harry said he refused to bring his wife to the UK because they don't have security. They don't provide proper security for him and his family. That's not going to be the same for Colombia, nor was it the same for Nigeria, because why? They're going to be provided with security, the proper security that's needed. Not only that, Harry and Meghan will be going with their own security, and Colombia will be providing security as if they, as foreign dignitaries coming into their country. And so they're going to be a lot of time with the prime minister. I'm sorry, the VP. And so I'm not prime minister, vice president of the country. And so, yeah, so they're going to have basically presidential security. And so, but it's just, I mean, I can't wait for the colors. I can't wait for the music, the colors, just these colors. I saw these colors and I was like, oh, heaven. I'm all about colors, as you can tell. So yeah, Harry and Meghan are off. And again, I love how nobody knew anything about it until they, allowed us to know. And of course, that came via the vice president and Francia Marquez. I never heard of her before yesterday. I never paid attention to Colombia, like their leaders or anything like that. So I had no idea. And I was like, look at this Black woman. I was like, you go. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. And Gwendolyn, Gwendolyn has yes, exactly. Why didn't they complain when other royal family member goes to Colombia? Yes, exactly. Sophie was in Colombia last year. She went to, I think it was November, she went to Colombia and nobody said a word. It wasn't dangerous then. But of course, Sophie isn't fighting the toxic British press, and she isn't fighting Ravik for security. So nobody had a problem when Sophie went there. The same vice president welcomed Sophie to Colombia, and Sophie had the necessary protection she needed it in Colombia. Nobody said a word, but of course, and it's not about anything. It's just because the Sussexes are invited by the the vice president of the country. They don't want the Sussexes to, as we know, they don't want the Sussexes to have the kind of status that they have. It's a slap in the face every time something like this happens. It's like, oh, you mean that they could survive without us? That's more of what that is. And so it's nothing to do with security. It's just that, countries want Harry and Meghan. And, well, ain't nobody inviting William and Kate. Not that, I mean, Kate ain't doing nothing right now. Anyway, she's not going anywhere. So she is still on the I have cancer phase of her life. And William, well, he's not going to do anything. So, but despite the fact that they've been on vacation all year, they don't want Harry and Meghan to have the status that they have. So the vice president inviting them to Colombia is basically a slap in their face, and they don't like that, obviously. So so a little bit, just in case you didn't see it, and again, most of you have seen this, I'm sure. Our other squatty channels have looked at this before, and I can't get over her. I was like, look at this beautiful Black woman, the Black woman hair and everything. I'm talking about representing. I love it. I so love this. And it says Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, will visit Colombia at the invitation of the Vice President of Colombia, Francia Marquez. As the Vice President of Colombia and Minister of Equity and Equality and Equity, I am pleased to announce that Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, have kindly accepted my invitation. She invited them. She didn't, she wasn't told they're coming, as the royals do. They have kindly accepted my invitation to visit our beautiful country. During their trip, the Duke and Duchess will join me in visiting Bogota, as well as the Caribbean and Pacific regions of Cartagena and Cali. In these vibrant locations, they will have exceptional opportunity to engage with leaders, youth, and women who embody the aspirations and voices of Colombians committed to progress. In addition to these meaningful interactions, the Duke and Duchess will experience the rich heritage of Colombia. And it goes on. I mean, as you can see, there's lots more. I will post it in our community page so you can read it. But it's just very, very, I mean, it's such a, it just, I just love it. I absolutely love it. And I love that Harry and Meghan are, the youths of Colombia, just as we saw them do in Nigeria, are going to have an opportunity. I mean, they're going to have an opportunity to learn about them, and the youths there are going to have an opportunity to engage and really. Excuse me, they're going to really have an opportunity to really share and have a world spotlight on the things that they're doing. Because when people think of Colombia, they think of the drug cartels, they think of the assassinations or all of the negative stuff, and they don't think of Colombia as a thriving community that's sort of getting away from that past. And so it is, I just real, I really am excited to see what they're doing. Actually, I read a little bit more of it. It says the visit comes at a particularly significant time as it precedes the first global ministerial conference on ending violence against children to be held in Colombia this November. The Archwell Foundation, founded by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, is renowned for its global leadership in fostering safer online environment. The forthcoming conference will unveil a comprehensive framework for creating safer physical and digital spaces, tackling issues such as cyberbullying, online exploitation, and mental health impacts of these threats. It will offer actionable solutions and commitments for countries around the world. During their visit, the Duke and Duchess, as well as the Archwell Foundation, will engage in several activities related to this important topic. We are confident that their visit will further illuminate Colombia's role as a beacon of culture and innovation. And again, especially, the bottom part is so important because, again, so many people, as they did with Nigeria, only think of it as the negative. They only see the negative, but then they don't pay attention to all the positive things that is going on in the country. And with Harry, the spotlight on Harry and Meghan, so many more people in the world are going to get to see that Colombia is a lot more than what you think. There's so much more and so much good going on there, and that the world needs to know. So kudos for her. And so a little bit about Francia, Vice President Francia Marquez. I'd never heard of her before yesterday, and so I was just like kind of looking at her. It's like, oh, there. That's all those on the lines is I think that's my Grammarly correcting their refinery article there. Sorry, refinery. My Grammarly is correcting you. But anyways, let me just move my little brand thing from there. A little bit about her, and just a little bit. Born in Colombia's gold panning river town of La Toma in 1982, Francia Marquez Mina grew up amid poverty and armed conflict with few prospects ahead of her. When mining multinationals encroached on her community and threatened their displacement, Marquez fought back alongside local leaders with litigation that successfully revoked the mining titles on their land. Since then, the Afro-Colombian activist and Goldman Environmental Prize winner hasn't stopped fighting. It's this fervency that makes Marquez a prospect in Colombia's presidential race. And this article was written before the presidential race, which obviously her team won, and they are still in office. And Face Africa wrote this article, and this is just the headline of it. It says, Francia Marquez, how a former teen mom and cleaner became Colombia's first Black vice president. And I would suggest, I would encourage everybody to read up on her and some of the some articles about her that is really intense. She talks about, one of the things she talks about was so astounding. She talks about going to work in other families' homes, and I'm thinking rich families' homes, and coming back to your community to bury your children. And it's so jarring how she worded that. And it's like, wow. So she is really fighting for her community, especially a Black Colombians who had literally had no voice in Colombia. And so for her, she's a hero to them, and for the things that she, again, we've talked about Congo a little bit, about countries coming in to mine in countries, and what they're doing right now in Congo, where they push people of the community out so that they can expand the areas that they're mining, and they displace people, they kill people. All of the things that you see going on in Congo is it's just the same pattern. They do this in so many different countries. And it's like the same people, the same patterns. And this is what they're talking about was happening to her community. And she and her community were able to successfully push back and to get them out of her community, because they wouldn't have a community if they didn't. And it's the same kind of thing you see happening in Congo. You see the same thing with the same people happening with oil in Venezuela now, where, again, US-backed people trying to destroy Venezuela for the same reason. It's like the same people, the same patterns, no matter where you look. In Africa, in the Caribbean, in the Middle East, it's the same people doing the same things to all of these countries, even when they know that by doing that, they will displace people, they will destroy people's country. They do the same thing over and over and over. And so, and then when they do stuff like that, people are displaced, have nowhere to go. They end up on the US-UK borders. What happens? Then the US, and you're like, oh my gosh, we don't want immigrants here. Why are you coming to our borders? And it's like, well, you destroyed their homeland, remember? You went and destroyed it? Yeah, that's why they're at the borders, because you destroyed what they have. And so, and it's just the same cycle over and over. And so it's amazing. I am so happy for her, and I can't wait to, go in and read so much more about her. But I'm so inspired by her, and the fact that she was able, and her community was able to push back. And she's also an environmental activist. As you can see, she won the Goldman Environmental Prize. The Goldman Prize, as we've talked about before, is the environmental Nobel Peace Prize. If you think it's sort of, they call it the Environmental Nobel Prize. It's kind of what Prince William wanted his Earthshot to be, because they tried to steal that the Environmental Nobel Prize from Goldman, and it's like, yeah, no, you're not there yet, or you're probably never going to be there. So yeah, so the Goldman is exactly what Prince William kind of stole their idea of doing that award every year. Well, the Goldman Prize have been doing that for years, and so Prince William's Earthshot kind of steal their model to do the Earthshot Prize. It's like they stole the Earthshot Prize from the Belgium environmentalist Ignatius, and then they stole the model of doing it from from the Goldman Prize. It's like there's nothing original there. So, but if you've been under space, we've talked about that for eons ago. So yeah, we go. Anyway, so kudos to her. And also talk about Colombia. I expect to see Harry and Meghan with the Colombia Invictus team, because we remember the last Invictus Games in Düsseldorf was the first time Colombia joined. And of course, we had Nigeria. Colombia was amazing. Colombia won they won a ton of medals, especially swimming, table tennis. I mean, they won a lot of medals. As you can see, a ton of them have those medals. But I think this was like the sitting volleyball. I mean, if you guys remember the final game, the finals, the gold medals was between Poland and Colombia. That was the most intense thing. I've sat through it a long time. It was, I mean, a lot of you were watching online as well. It was intense. So, and this was Invictus Foundation posted this on Facebook. This says Colombia versus Poland was one of the greatest sitting volleyball matches ever seen at the Invictus. The gold medal match at Dusseldorf 2023 will go down in history books. Watch the final set from the intense showdown. So if you go on Facebook right now, they have the final set on there. I would never forget that game. It was amazing. It was so intense. You didn't know where this thing was going to end. Poland ended up winning it, but Colombia did amazing. And so I expect, and when they got back, they had a heroes welcome back to Colombia. So I expect Harry and Meghan to be spending time with them in Colombia. So yeah, it just I wouldn't be surprised if that's part of them being there. I can't imagine them going to Colombia and not spending time with the team Colombia. So yeah, absolutely. These guys, I'm telling you, Colombians are fish. They were like winning all the swimming medals. It was amazing. I had no idea they were so good in the water. It's just, yeah, sure, it's surrounded by water. So it's like, yeah, but I had no idea. So it was really, really great to see them at their first Invictus. Again, they won a ton of medals. So very, very cool. So, and away from that a little bit, moving on, changing the topic completely from that wonderful news. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but every time I look at, I turn on X, I'm seeing a new article from people. Like, I was like, oh, are they just desperate for clicks, or like, what is going on with people? Again, so many people. When I talk about People Magazine, and I always look, I'm always looking at them as a tabloid, because for me, for all of these news outlets that their main thing is gossip, my thing is like, look, you're all tabloids. I don't care what your name is. Some people will get upset at me because like, no, People Magazine is not a tabloid. It's a magazine. I'm like, I know what it is. But when your main source of information is like gossipy, then yeah, I lump you in there. But People Magazine has come out with these articles. I think that what it is, they did this one article, very long article apparently, and I just like sort of screamed through, and I was like, that is really long. I'm not going to spend time reading that. But apparently from that article, they've been like piecemealing all of these articles, and a lot of that stuff came out after Prince Harry did the interview with ITV. And then you have all of these things about Harry and Meghan and their security and all of that stuff. And again, this was coming out from that interview. And a lot of the news that has come out from that interview, which really was about the documentary, and they've all completely ignored the essence of the documentary, talking about press abuse and and what has done to so many people in the UK, including former Prime Minister Gordon Brown and others. And they've all latched on to the Harry and the security and not bringing Meghan back to the UK. And so they've just taken pieces of that and then sort of added on like all of these articles about why Harry and King Charles are not talking, why Harry and Prince William are not speaking, and it's just like, oh my gosh. And so people have been just completely like, every time I look around, I see a new title from people, and one of the things that they decided to write about it's like about Meghan wishing Prince Harry would let go of lawsuits, which I'm sure people will like, because again, it's a lot of those people from People magazine are British and they are friends of the tabloids over there, no matter how nice they seem. And they, in the United States, they seem like the good guy, the good tabloid in the United States. They are still friends with the folks in the UK. So I'm sure they're all like, oh, I wish. And so now let's use Meghan's name against her husband and try to make it really nice. It's not like she's criticizing Harry or anything. She just wishes that Harry would let go so he'd be happy. Let's use the wife against him, sort of like blackmail. It's just like, oh, come on. See, it's almost like you really don't think people see through this nonsense. And so it's part of it is like Meghan wishes Harry didn't have to come to carry the weight of the litigation as he fights for greater security protection for the family of four. The Duchess of Sussex supports Harry 100%, but she wishes he would let go of these lawsuits. Sure. Be happy and live in the moment, a former employee of Archwell Foundation tells people this week in this week's exclusive cover story. She wants him to be free of all this, but she also knows that because of everything he's been through and his love for her, he and the children, for her and their children, he can't. She wants him to live him to live in a world where he's not burdened by this, says the former staffer. And notice how they wrote this. And, because I was thinking like, well, are the Sussex is going to, shoot that down? Are they going to be like, okay, this is false? Notice how they write it. They can't say Meghan said anything. They just said, oh, this is what she wants. This is what the staff says she wants. Not that this is literally what Meghan said. No, they didn't write that. So Meghan has nothing to come back. So because they could say, well, this is what this person said. So Meghan has no, if Meghan were to say anything, they could come back and go, well, we didn't say you said that. We said the staff said you want that. Not that you said that literally. And it's just like, it's the way how they hide the things that they write. And it's like they hide it so that way Meghan, even if she wanted to, they're not quoting anything she said. They're just saying the staff said this is what she wants. And it's just like, it's like, do y'all think people can't figure out how you write and figure out the nonsense in which you write this stuff? And it's just, but again, even with that said, because this seemed like just nonsense, because if Meghan actually said something, you would actually be quoting, Meghan said, I want my husband to go stop these. They would literally said, this is what she said. But this is just supposedly third-hand information that they're just saying this is what she wants instead of this is what she said. And so, people would run away with this and believe exactly what is written there. Like, well, they said this is what Meghan wants, so this is probably what Meghan told her. Well, the supposed Archwell staff never said Meghan told her this. She just said this is what Meghan wants. So it just, yeah. Anyways, but the thing about it is like, whether this is true or not, whether this is how Meghan feels or not, I have no idea how Meghan feels. I don't think anyone else really. But it's kind of hard to really shoot it down hard, because Meghan and Harry do have a relationship with people. They do have that relationship, which I have never been for. I don't understand why they do have this relationship. Again, when I look at people, I don't care if they're the nice version of tabloid or not. For me, they're still a tabloid. So People was the only news outlet they took from the US, or US news outlet that they took with them in Nigeria. So people are a lot more apt to believe it if People magazine put it out there, because again, Harry and Meghan trusted them enough to take them along with them in Nigeria. So is this the narrative that Harry and Meghan want out there? Or they have other narratives that they've been putting out a bunch of different stories and stuff, and other outlets have been taking from it and running with it in other directions. As you can see, some of these, I had to bring in the AOL one because I was like, AOL still exists? I didn't realize. I was like, oh, didn't know that. I was like, Maybe I was like, yeah, so maybe I'm dreaming. AOL is still there. So now that I know I wasn't dreaming, AOL still exists. But anyway, so people have been doing it, and so they've been doing all of these. King Charles is not no longer speaking to Harry, and then other people have been. Prince Williams is no longer speaking to Harry and not returning calls and texts and all of that nonsense. Is that the narrative that Harry and Meghan wants out there? I have no idea. I don't know. Again, people are more apt to believe because Harry and Meghan do have a relationship with people. Prince Harry has done interview with People magazine before. Again, they took them just a couple months ago with the only outlet they took with them to Nigeria. So people are much more apt. And I can't say it didn't happen because again, they trust people enough to go with them. So is that the narrative that Harry and Meghan want out there? Especially the narrative about King Charles and Harry and Meghan not, or that Prince Harry and Charles are not on speaking terms. Maybe they want it out there because Charles and the British media, of course, the whole summer thing. Oh, is Harry and Meghan going to bring their kids to wherever, Balmoral or wherever they are for the summer? Are they going to bring? And then they all start, of course, on this narrative again for like the 50th time this year about, oh, Charles, the doting grandfather, is not going to be able to see his grandkids again, and how Harry is using the security thing as a way to blackmail his father, and it's emotional manipulation that he's not going to bring his kids to see Charles, and how, how Charles, because of his cancer, can't travel to California to see them if he really wants to see them. But of course, he can go over to New Zealand and stuff, but he can't go to California. You know what I mean? That whole ridiculous narrative. So could Harry and Meghan want this narrative out there that's like, no, he's the one that is not returning my phone calls. He's not the one that is not returning my he's the one that's not returning my text. He's the one that can reinstate my security, and he's the one that's not doing it. So that could be true, that Harry and Meghan want that narrative out there to kill that ridiculous Charles, the doting grandfather, oh, the poor grandpa who can't see his grandkids because Harry and Meghan are manipulating him because he wants him to fix security. So they could have had that out there because it's like, no, we're gonna kill that right now. You are a horrible father. You're a horrible grandfather. And anybody who has been paying attention knows. I mean, I don't know why people would believe that nonsense about King Charles being a doting grandfather to anyone. He wasn't even that to Kate or William's kids. They literally had to force him to spend time with George. I remember that. They literally had to force the man. And what grandfather would kick their son out of the only secure house they have? I mean, everybody knows that because they've been plastering it over the press. What grandfather would take security from his grandchildren and his son if he wants to see them? That's stupid. But people believe this nonsense. So I think Harry and Meghan, if this is truly what they want out there, may have been like, now we're killing that. You will never be that loving grandfather thing that the palace is trying to push. So that could be it as well. So, but who knows? I have no idea. Again, they do have a relationship with people, so who knows? So I mean, if they've stood up and say, you know what, no, these stories are false, then I'd be right there fighting behind them. But if they're not saying anything, I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm not gonna fight a battle they're not fighting. So I have no idea. So I'm just, pointing out, just if they choose to say something, then great. But if not, we just leave it alone. Maybe people is right. Who knows? So yeah. But again, I do not trust mainstream press, as you can tell. I trust none of them. And so I would not sit with them, especially if I had the platform Harry and Meghan have. They don't need it. So, but everybody is different with how they look at the press. So they feel like they can reach, having some kind of relationship with some outlets, like some of the mainstream press, can reach audience that maybe wouldn't usually pay attention to them because they're not into royals and stuff, but maybe they'll watch it because of Jane Pauley. Maybe they'll watch it because it's CBS, whatever. So they feel like it's necessary to have a relationship with some mainstream press. I will kick them all to the curb. That's me. I wouldn't trust any one of them. I definitely wouldn't sit down with them. But again, I think very differently. So there you go. Let's see. What else is happening? Oh, and finally, I'm going to get to the chat in a bit. This is the finally, I didn't even know they were still doing it. Invictus Games obviously coming up in September. Well, what am I saying? No, in in February, next February. Hello. I'm still on September being, at least last September being Dusseldorf. But in February of 2025, obviously coming up in Vancouver. I didn't know they were still doing this. So I was just like, oh, they posted this earlier today. It says it's so exciting to see nations getting involved in our current I Am campaign. So if you haven't gotten involved yet, it is never too late. You can still share your I Am and don't forget to tag us. So people are still designing the I Am logo and stuff like that. So hey, go ahead and submit it and see. So if you're in Canada, part of the nations out there, definitely go ahead and submit your designs. I was like, oh, I didn't realize they were doing it. You can see the logos that the official logos in the back of them there that they're going to be using for the games. But people are still, they're designing their I Am Invictus logos. So absolutely fantastic. So kudos to them. Very much looking forward to next year. So again, if you haven't, gone and signed up for your tickets for the opening and closing ceremony, go to the website and sign up. So very cool. And so I'm just going to stay in the chat for a bit. That's all I got. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of others, but again, this is just me dipping my eyes into things and just seeing what's there. Wait. Church Nelly has the for Kamala Harris supporters. There are many, I'm sure, in here voting for Kamala Harris. So Church Nelly is making sure she put your link there so you can go vote. I'm assuming it's a video. Okay, there you go. So Church Nelly is inviting y'all to go check out that video. So many of you are Kamala Harris supporters in here. Let's see. What else is there? TMCD says, oh, she's talking to Benzola. I only listen to what comes out of Prince Harry and Meghan's mouth. Exactly. If Prince Harry and Meghan want to tell us that, they will. I mean, Harry, even when he was doing the interview for ITV, he didn't really want to say much about his family. As he said, anytime he talks about his family, there's a lot of abuse that comes with that because, again, the press and the royal family are so close, they literally think of themselves as one. At least the press think of themselves as part of the royal family. And so Harry doesn't really say much about it. And so apart from the fact that he wished his family would have joined him in suing the British press, but the other stuff, I feel the same unless Harry and Meghan say it. But again, they are working with people, so who knows? Let's see. Karen Lovely. Hello, Karen Lovely. Karen says, I don't believe the two of them have cancer in any way. It is not true. My thoughts about that whole mess. So yeah, I don't believe that either. So let's see. Vanzola says, Harry said no sources will be talking for them. Exactly. They did say that. And especially if you can't quote what Meghan says and it's only what you think or you feel she wants, then that's very, very suspect. That's like Palace Source says. I guess that's the US version of Palace Source. So yeah. Let's see. Gwen says, Charles couldn't care less about Harry and Meghan's beautiful kids. Exactly. I mean, it's been so clear. It is more that whole thing about Charles wanting to see his kids. It's more the British press wants to see the kids. King Charles could not care less. He doesn't want them there. He has made it perfectly clear that even Harry, when he took the house, Harry even said, you don't want to see your grandkids? And it's just like, hello, Charles is no. It's like, Charles is he's not into kids. Again, they had to literally force that man to spend time with George, the future king. He does not care about Harry and Meghan kids. He doesn't. This is more the British press wants the kids there. The British press wants to get pictures. The British press wants to. And so Charles allowed them to use him as proxy for their desperation to see the kids. And so they're trying every which way to manipulate, to, break. It's just they're trying every way to get Harry and Meghan to get the kids and maybe force Charles to want to get. Charles is not interested. Charles does not want any of them, that Harry, Meghan, or their kids in the UK. That is very obvious. Very, very obvious. I don't know what else the man can do other than putting out a bulletin. I don't want you here. Maybe that's next. Maybe that's next. So, Lola Love, only Charles can tell you. Only Charles and his doctor. We can only go on what we believe. So, yeah. Trish says the magazines and media should be loyal to the truth. Yes, they should, but they never will. They never will. Because lies make them more money. They could gossip more with lies. That makes them more money. So yeah. Petal, what happened to Olive Branch, snubbed, blackmail, etc.? Well, they figured that's not working, so they have to try another tactic. After a while and people stop reading, then they have to come up with something else. So I guess, the brand, especially the Olive Branch. Oh my God, I'm so glad that was cut down, chopped up, and thrown into the fire, because I don't ever want to hear another or see another headline that talks about Olive Branch. Like, you've been done, burn the olive trees, so there are no branches left. So there. Let's see. Black Queen says, oh, she's talking to Lola Love. People hate when you bring facts. The narrative makes too much sense. They won't accept it because it will show up their idiocy and ignorance. Exactly. When you bring facts, people will abuse you because they don't want to, also too, they don't want to change their opinions. They don't want to admit that they could be wrong, which is a lot of times like, you just admit you're wrong, please. Your life would be at least you wouldn't come across stupid. It just, come on. Let's see. Terry says they have no idea what's going on in Harry and Meghan's life. They are just speculating. Meghan will always support Harry. Exactly. And it's so funny because you have this stuff coming out from people like Harry and Meghan's former employee and the source close to Harry and Meghan. And it's so funny because one squatty on X brought up a great point. He or she said, well, it's funny that this person, this ex-employee, and these people that are close to Harry and Meghan could tell you how Meghan feels and what she wants and all of that stuff, but neither of them could tell you that Meghan could have told you that Harry and Meghan are going to Colombia and then that they sat down with Jane Pauley. It's funny. None of them told you the things that are actually happening, but only the ones that they think Harry and Meghan feels about things. And that's how you know it's just nonsense. Total nonsense. And it was a great point. I was like, yeah, exactly. If people are actually leaking stuff to you, yeah, it's funny. They haven't told you the things that is actually happening. But you can only write about the things that they're speculating about, because there's nowhere to verify it unless Harry and Meghan says something about it. So, yeah, very interesting. Cookies and Cream says, People magazine Simon Perry used to write subtle hit pieces about Meghan. I hope the Sussexes leave People magazine alone. Is he the same one that was in Nigeria with them? I don't remember the one that was in Nigeria with them. Is he the same person? Or is Simon Perry the British editor, the former British editor? Or is it the same person? I don't remember. But it's very interesting. Again, I don't know why I don't know why they trust people. Maybe, they know better than me. They're closer to the situation, obviously. But I don't understand it. I don't understand it. So for me, I love the Sussexes, but I think they're unfortunately going to learn the hard way about trusting any news outlet in the US. I don't see them as any different from the UK. Yes, there's a clear line between mainstream press and tabloids in the US, and they definitely, at least the majority of them don't behave the way the UK press behave. Yes, they put out gossip, and yes, they put out stuff, but the deliberate targeting to destroy in the way that the British press, I think that is just, a lot of that is exclusive to the UK. So you don't have the same things, even though there are some in the UK, in the US press that do messed up stuff as well. But it's not to the level of the UK press. But for me, there's still tabloids and even some in mainstream press. I wouldn't trust these people at all in any sense of the word. I certainly wouldn't sit down with them to talk about just about anything. So, but I don't know. I wish things turn out better than I think it's gonna turn out with these tabloids for the Sussexes. I would hate for them to learn the hard way that they're no different, but that's how I think about it. So even when I posted that on the X, some squatties were very much against what I said. They totally disagreed, and I'm fine with that. People could disagree with what I said. I'm totally fine with it. So yeah, they didn't agree with my take on things, but I don't see, yeah, I don't see that any good coming out of it. Karen says orchestrated wickedness campaign is a failure. Yes, it has been so far. Yes, it has been. TMCD says, oh, Black Queen Nana isn't getting the full blunt of it yet. There's something special coming for her, trust me. What's that about? I don't know. I don't have not been paying attention to Nana. This lady and her wigs. But I know Karma has been sitting on a few people in the UK. One of it is Hugh Edwards, the guy from BBC. We've talked about this on this podcast so many times about the Metropolitan Police giving these people a pass. When that whole thing came out with him, sending either propositioning this kid who they were like, no. The kid said no. He was an adult when it happened and all of that stuff. And they pretty much gave him a pass. I know the BBC, I think, had let him go. And there was a whole big hubbub about it, which at the time I was like, these people, when it comes to Hugh Edwards or the Dan Wootons or the Prince Andrews and all of these people, the Metropolitan Police have been very, very lax when it comes to charging these people, when it comes to, having more of it's always like they give them the benefit of a doubt. The quickest thing to do is give them the benefit of a doubt and say, oh, okay, there's no, they're not going to continue with the investigation because, whatever, they don't have enough evidence or whatever it is, but it's always the err on the side of giving them a pass. None of these people should be walking the streets. None of these people. And so they gave this guy a pass, and I guess now they can, now that they can't, because apparently he had all of these images of kids, I guess, on his computer or something. Again, I have not had time to really read all the stories around this, only seeing the headlines. So now he has been charged, and apparently he pled guilty for having images of children. And I'm like, y'all are just learning this? Ever since that whole mess happened a while back, this man should have been arrested. But again, the Metropolitan Police, and especially white reporters in the UK. So I think one of the reasons that a lot of them don't want Leveson Part 2, because Leveson Part 2 was going to deal with especially the tabloid press and their relationship with the press, their relationship with the Metropolitan Police. And so a lot of people don't want that to happen because a lot of it would be exposed. So yeah, it just, I mean, I will never understand how the Metropolitan Police have Dan Wooten walking around the UK claiming that, oh, they don't have enough evidence or whatever, the evidence doesn't. I'm like, hello. So who knows what Wooten has in some of them. But anyways, let's see what else you guys are saying. Again, you have more information than I am with that. Bonnie says, I saw an article BBC asking back for the money they paid him. Serve BBC right. I hope he doesn't give it back to them. Serve them right. So yeah. it just that's just craziness. Absolute craziness. Um Black Queen says America just won a bronze in the 10,000. He's a tiny Hispanic guy. He pushed so hard on the last 100 meters. It's history. Being 54 years. Uganda won gold. Ethiopia won silver. Congrats. Okay, so this is the Olympics that's going on in France at the moment. I've been boycotting the Olympics because of I'm not even going to get into it. But there have been stuff coming out. I know the American team with Simone Biles have won. They won the American team won the I guess the championship for the teams, I guess. And then Simone won for the all around. And I think this other girl's, I think she's American, Suni Lee. I think she's also American. She also won the bronze. And I think the girl from Brazil, Rebecca something, she won the silver, which I think she won a medal the last Olympics as well. So yeah, but I haven't been keeping up with the Olympics. But congratulations to these people who won. Yeah, very interesting. These long distance races, I would never understand how they do it. I just goodness, it is amazing. So yeah. Commonplace says, hi, everyone. I bet CBS Morning has big ratings this week. Yep, I would think so. I would think so. So, yeah. And a lot of it, too, is going to be a lot of people hate watching because that's what they do, because they need to attack the Sussexes. But it's like, hey, CBS will revel in it. So, there. Elizabeth Sunu says, People Magazine flip-flop against the Sussexes. You can't trust People Magazine. I don't know why the Sussexes do, but interesting. Interesting choice. But again, I don't have to like every choice they make. I mean, they are grown folks who can make their own decisions, so I don't have to like every choice they make, and I'm good with that. And people don't have to agree with anything I say. So there you go. Vanzola said Simone had my heart in her hands. A lot of people, one of my besties said the same thing. She's like, I don't think I'm going to ever watch gymnastics again. She's like, it's too intense. It's too intense. And I think, yeah, it's like when I grew up watching gymnastics. So I totally understand. Yep. Yeah, my bestie was saying that a couple of days ago. She's like, I can't watch. It's just too intense. Commonplace Beauty is like, go Kamala. There you go. We have a lot of Kamala fans in here. So yeah. Let's see. What else. Karen is like, she says, God is faithful. What goes around surely comes around. The clock is ticking. Our ancestors will never sleep until they avenge every one of them. I know, right? I'm telling the ancestors and karma have definitely been hanging out in the UK for quite a bit. There was something else in the UK. Oh, this other guy from GB News, I think his name is Albi. I don't remember what his last name is. But he was a Black guy on GB News, and he was not, he would say some stuff. I don't remember some of the things he said about Harry and Meghan, but he basically was part of that group at GB News who would always be negative about the Sussexes. So he was talking about, I think it was either Suella, I think it was Suella Braverman, and basically called her racist, which it's true. He wasn't lying. But GB News fired him for calling Suella Braverman exactly what she is, that she is racist. And they did this whole apology thing about him calling her racist, and they fired him. And it's just like, well, when you started in GB News and you thought you was part of that group, and you were there and you were okay with them saying all this stuff about Meghan, who, you're a black man and you're okay with them being racist about Meghan, and you think it'll be okay for you to say those things about Suella Braverman. Yeah, Suella Braverman is also, yes, she is black brown just like you, but Suella Braverman is a friend of GB News. She's been on their channel doing things for them quite a few times. You're not in that league. And so he learned the hard way that GB News isn't exactly you don't have the freedom that they claim you have, the freedom of speech that they claim. Yeah, if you go against somebody that they like, if you go against somebody, yeah, they will fire you. And so he learned the hard way too. It's like, yeah, so much for free speech. I always laugh because they're like, yeah, we're about free speech. And it's like, yeah, the free speech, if you go along with them, yeah, sure. But if you go against them, yeah, they'll fire you too. So, let's see, what else? I'm just scrolling up. Let's see. Martin is like, Nana makes my eyes hurt. Oh, God. Nana's wigs. I was like, girl, yeah. Let's see. Banzola says, People magazine was so bad, I thought the British owned it. They targeted Meghan. Kate was on their cover every 3 days. Oh, I don't really pay attention to their covers. They always are on the newsstands and stuff. But there was a time, I remember, I think it was last year, that it seemed like every time I saw a cover was like a royal on that cover. So yeah, it just, oof. I didn't realize that they were. I've seen like shady articles that they would write. I've never seen like an out and out like I'm attacking you, like say the British press do. But they have a very sneaky way of shading Meghan. So yeah, that's the reason I would never trust these people ever, 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 ever. So, let's scroll up a little bit. Tarja says, even if Charles succeed to convince H to take the kids over there, H will not allow Charles' picture with his kids to be published publicly. Well, yeah, since the royal family are in bed with the tabloids, I don't think I don't know that Harry and Meghan. I'm sure they'll be able to sneak a picture somewhere. So yeah, that's why I'm happy that Harry and Meghan aren't. And I think one of the reasons too that because if Harry wants to go, he has to give them like 28-day notice, and then he has to give the police or Ravek his entire itinerary, so they will know. And of course, we know the two members of the royal family, or at least Charles and William's teams, are on the board of Ravek. So when people claim that, oh, Charles doesn't have any power, he has no like governmental power and he doesn't have power over Ravek, it is such a complete lie. And I don't understand why people still lie about stuff like that. It's so obvious, even apart from the Ravek stuff, for you to write that Charles has no governmental power, it's so ridiculous that I'm like, come on, people, you have to be really stupid to believe that. And then of course, if you have two members of your staff on Ravek, of course you have power over Ravek. And we've seen how they bow to royalty anyway. Even the police, the Metropolitan Police, they all bow to them. So yeah, that is just such nonsense. So anyways, I think that's it. I think that's all I got, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for the last hour. Wow, that went nice fast. Thank you so much. I will be coming back in hopefully tomorrow or Sunday, one of those days, should my schedule allow. But thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. Thank you to our awesome moderators, Lydia Churchnelli, Karen M, Cookies and Cream and Black Queen. Some of them not here at the moment, But thank you guys so much, and to our awesome 2 cents crew for sticking here by me. Even though I've been pretty much absent this month, I will be back fully next month. That would be awesome. Thank you guys so much. I love you all. Have a fantastic day, whatever you're doing, and I will chat with you later. Bye.